Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. I banned my best friend's girlfriend from our kitchen. After that, Karen snooped through my house, so I hid embarrassing notes. And after that, need to resign because of sick leave? Sure. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen gets banned from the kitchen. But who's going to make your attendees then, Reddit boy? So please smash that like button. And subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. I banned my best friend's girlfriend from our kitchen. I, 26 male, live with my best friend Brian, 26 male, in a rented house. Sometime in September, Brian started dating Cindy, who's around 24. Brian can't cook at all. He can make scrambled eggs, instant ramen, frozen pizza, and that's about it. He doesn't even know how to cook rice. I, on the other hand, am a great cook, and I occasionally, 3 to 5 times a month, cook for him as well. Cindy has been staying over more and more often, and a few weeks ago, she was sleeping over on the same day I cooked for Brian. She was apparently really shocked I cooked it because it tastes like it's from a pricey restaurant. Brian made the mistake of mentioning that I offered to teach him to cook. Cindy decided that this offer automatically extends to her as well. She came to me and told me I can teach her. She didn't ask, she just told me. I told her I wouldn't. We went back and forth. She thinks I have to because I promised Brian I'd teach him, but he doesn't want to. Cindy also doesn't know how to cook anything. She thinks she is entitled to cooking lessons because she's dating my friend. She kept pestering me about this for almost 3 weeks and only stopped when I asked Brian to talk to her. Now, last week I got home and could immediately smell burnt food. I walk into the kitchen and there she was. She tried to make crepes, burned them to a crisp, and was scraping them with a metal spatula on the non-stick pancake pan. I slightly lost it and immediately raised my voice to ask her what the heck she was doing. She gave me an attitude about how, since I'm the jerk, she's learning to cook by herself. I told her she can do that at her home and not in our kitchen. She smugly told me that it's not my decision to make because it's Brian's place as well. I told her it is my decision because everything in the kitchen is mine. When we moved in, the kitchen was empty apart from a single banged-upon pan, 1 pot, and 3 dull knives with plastic handles. The kitchen is now chef-worthy. I dropped hundreds on appliances, cookware, nice dinnerware, etc. Brian is, of course, allowed to use everything in the kitchen. I told Cindy that she is not allowed to cook anything in our kitchen. Brian came into the kitchen at this point and diffused the argument. That was last week. Things between Brian and me are very awkward. Cindy has not been over yet. One of my friends absolutely went off on me, calling me a jerk because not everyone has the same opportunities. Side note, I grew up poor. I learned to cook on my own. I learned how to make great tasting meals out of ramen, hot dogs, rice, whatever was on clearance, etc. I don't think I'm the jerk for refusing to teach, but I am wondering if banning her from the kitchen was a step too far. It's just that I really don't like her, and honestly don't trust her not to damage something on purpose. Edit. The pan is fine. The coal that was supposed to become crepes protected the actual pan. Edit 2. This blew up a lot more than I thought. Join me in praying no one that knows about the situation sees this. I did not change enough details to have plausible deniability. To answer some questions, I already disliked Cindy prior to this because she was unfriendly to me since we met. Not saying hi back, glaring at me whenever I walked into the common area where she was, interrupting every conversation I had with Brian, etc. I love Brian, but I'm not in love with him. Do none of you have friends close enough they count as family? I also tried to bring up the situation with Brian again today, and he full-on flinched and shook his head. Thanks to people who suggested cooking something with a really delicious aroma when Cindy is over next time. You are all so petty. I love it. Not the jerk. You said no, and she should have stopped asking after that. Cindy sounds like an entitled jerk. The metal spatula on a non-stick pan is utterly criminal. She's better off drinking the batter mix if she wants pancakes. Anyone using a metal spatula on a non-stick pan that doesn't belong to them would be banned from my house, not just my kitchen. Not the jerk. You do not mess with someone's cooking stuff. I just got a new set of Yakushi knives that I'm obsessed with. If someone was using them without my permission and using them incorrectly, I would flip my lid. Especially if they were acting as entitled as the girlfriend. Absolutely not the jerk. However, if you feel like sharing some sweet appliances you have that I need in my kitchen, I'm all ears. Well, what would you do in this situation? Would you go ahead and teach her how to cook or not? Please let us know. I'd ban her from my place is what I'd do. Karen snoops through my house, so I hid embarrassing notes. I bought a house 7 years ago, and I met my fiance, Al, 4 years ago. This year, he moved in. We're talking about making it a home for both of us. But as of now, he hasn't moved much stuff in. Right now, 95% of the stuff and furniture in the house is mine. When his mom comes over, she's kind of a snoop. He was used to that, but when she comes to our house, it's so uncomfortable because she's just going through my stuff. When I'm bothered, she's like, "I was just helping with chores," etc. He says I should just let her because she has a lot of nervous energy. One thing she snooped on was actually embarrassing. In my home office, I had a little affirmation post-it note on my monitor saying, "I am smart, I am skilled, I am deserving of great things." It was a silly thing my therapist recommended to get me in a confident mindset before an interview. Anyway, she made a comment to me about my ego. But as a joke, I decided to do it again. I had my best friend come over and we got wine drunk and wrote a bunch of affirmations to hide. Some were, medicine cabinet, "My teeth will regrow, I am shark-like and powerful." Work desk, "I will not just do my way to the top of the company, I will do my way to the top of the world." There were a bunch more, and my friend and I had a hilarious time writing them. Next time my mother-in-law came over, she saw a few, and she didn't acknowledge them to me, even though she definitely started acting a little weird about me. I went to run some errands, and when I was out, she confronted Al about the notes and was trying to tell him that I seemed unstable, egotistical, and moving in was a bad idea. She showed him the notes, and he didn't really know what to make of it. He asked me, and I said that they were just some silly private notes to boost my self-confidence and make myself laugh. How had she gotten them? Has she been going through my things? He said she was just tidying and saw them, and they were real weird. I was like, "Have you met me? You should know how weird I am." Anyway, if you don't want your mom seeing my weird stuff, you've got to stop letting her go through my crap. He asked if I left them on purpose to annoy her, and I admitted that was kind of the joke. But I also have other weird or private stuff, so what I said about her needing to stop snooping if she didn't want to find weird crap was still for real. He said I was making stuff hard for him. His mom was really protective and adjusting to him moving in with a girlfriend for the first time, and I was agitating her on purpose and making her think I wouldn't be a good partner, when he wanted her to have the opposite impression of me. Am I the jerk for the note prank? Not the jerk. She's snooping through your home. I'd have gone further and left little notes like, "Nobody likes a snoop," and "You aren't welcome to go through my things," but yours were pretty darn funny. It's a red flag if your fiance stands up for her invading your privacy like this. OP. Yeah, I feel so frustrated because he was okay with her doing it in his apartment because she actually would help with laundry and dishes and he appreciated that. But in my house, it's different because it's not his stuff there. It's not even our stuff. It's 95% my stuff because I've lived there for 7 years and furnished it and bought everything. And he moved in after selling his furniture and only bringing a closet full of things and some gadgets. So when she's going through my house, it's not his stuff or even shared stuff. She's just going through my crap. And I'm not really cool with that because I don't want my guests helping with my laundry or looking for my dirty mugs. I think on the not funny side of things, I might just sit her down and say I've lived alone for 6 years. I live in a way that makes my home feel like a home. And part of that is not keeping anything but the living room and guest bathroom presentable for guests. So I'm uncomfortable with her as my guest going into the other rooms without asking or looking at my stuff. Unless you plan for your boyfriend's mom to move in soon and continue doing what she's doing now, I'd think about breaking up. 1. Your boyfriend is using her to do his share of the chores. This is not going to change. He's not going to start doing more chores of his own. He will always outsource his chores to his mom. 2. That means it is in his best interest to let his mom do whatever the heck she feels like doing, including moving in and taking over your home, life, and your kids, so he can relax and whatever. 3. When you have kids, you will be a married single parent, unless his mom moves in and co-parents with you. 4. Again, he does not stand up to her and chooses her side against you when you point out how inappropriate he's being, because it's in his best interests, and that's not going to change. From everything I've seen, mama's boys don't change. So unless you plan to have your marriage to be between you, him, and his mom, I'd reevaluate. This is what I was going to say, though likely not as well. He's exhibiting failure to launch symptoms, and it's clear that his mother is not prepared to let go. I think he was probably correct in saying he's not ready to move in. By his actions, he has demonstrated this. Not the jerk. Don't ask Al's mom to stop going through your stuff. Tell her she is not allowed to go through your stuff. Ever. If that doesn't sit well, maybe she won't come over anymore. Either way, you win. Need to resign because of sick leave? Sure. I used to work at a grocery store. It was in this smallish beachside community that had a lot of tourists and summer homes. Chose the store because they were all about finding long-term workers and had a little bonus and salary boost for those who finished the probationary period. I had just finished school and planned on taking a gap year, so worked out well in my mind. I started about 2 months before summer, and it was nice. We had a base of coworkers that worked well with each other, mostly middle-aged women and some pensioners. Found out quick that smoke break was for gossiping about the others, and sometimes I took part when clients upset me or other coworkers. Usual daily things. I was told from day one that the manager didn't give a hoot about us because she was also manager at a bigger store. The rule was, if you had someone to cover you, it was fine to do whatever. Some took hour-long breaks, some drank during the job, but I was trying to make a good impression on my first job in that town, so I never did anything like that. Since I didn't have that much of a social life, I always changed shifts when someone needed, came in if someone was sick, even stocked the inn shelves, which were the shift manager's job. When the pensioners asked in the middle of the day to change assignments because their back hurt from stocking, I was always okay with it. And they were really thankful. One of them, let's call her Lydia, was actually a neighbor and friends with my grandparents, so we used to hang out during lunch breaks, and she even comforted me when I had a panic attack. We used to ride home together on our bikes if we finished together. She kinda took me under her wing and used to call me her work granddaughter. Things kinda took a turn once summer started. Usually it was about a 1,000 euros per 2 registers. Now it was suddenly 2,000 per one. They also hired summer workers who were 3 16-year-old stock boys, one being the manager's son. Not to be an old-timer getting upset about the work ethic of the kids, but they were literally playing some tank games on their phones on the store floor while they had a cart of stuff that needed to be put out in front of them. Not to mention the not checking of dates, shoving old stuff in the back and new in the front, not checking if the barcode matched the price tag's barcode. What really upset me was that they didn't flush and went to the bathroom all over the toilet seats. Management made it my job to clean after them. I was told I couldn't say anything to call them out, so it became my everyday duty to clean the toilets, because the cleaner only came in the morning. Then the self-service checkouts came. I was the only cashier there when the builders put them in, so it became my duty to train the others, including management and the 2 60-plus somethings. Lydia took it easy. The old man literally refused to learn. So now, every day, either me or Lydia had to be in store because the old man refused. It was also regular he came in drunk and drank at work. Also used to hit on me a lot, but I brushed it off. So, lots on my shoulders. Crap went down after I got my shot in the start of August. I had 2 days off. Figured I wouldn't get that sick because I had already had it. It was about a week or so before my probation period ended. So on Monday, I felt terrible and called in. My first time during this whole time I worked there. Called in with the manager. "You have to come in. Lydia is on vacation, and the only other one who knows is already sick, and you didn't give us proper notice." Try to argue that I have a fever of 39 and feel like crap. "No, you have to come in." So I get my crap together and go to work. Scrubbing the toilet with a fever. Dealing with customers with a fever. Yes, I took more breaks. Most coworkers asked me why I looked so bad, and I told them that I was sick. End the day and go home. Next day, I feel even worse. Call in, say no, I'm putting my foot down, I can't come. First time I took a stand and said I can't destroy my health. "Fine, you call Lydia and tell her. If she agrees, then you have to take sick leave." Okay, not really my job, but fine. Call her, wake her up, apologized profusely and told her the situation. She understood, wished me to feel better and hung up. I called my doctor and got on sick leave and then informed my manager. Went back to sleep. Got a call a few hours later. It's Lydia. "You make everyone's life so difficult here. Come in and give in your resignation." She isn't the manager, she's just a cashier like me. I asked, what the heck? And she told me they've been talking on the smoke break with all the shift managers and the main manager, and apparently they decided I complained too much about my health and about other workers. I asked why my manager didn't call me. No real explanation. I said if the manager wants to fire me, she'd have to call me herself. No call. So 2 hours later, I call her myself, ask what's going on. It's true. I need to resign my position. I ask why they don't just terminate me. I'm still on probation. Can't, 'cause you're on sick leave. Doesn't really make sense. During the probation period, they can fire me with no notice, no reasoning. I'm fuming at this time. Fine. I'll come in with my 39-degree fever. Got on my bike, pedaled the 3 kilometers. Everyone is giving me dirty looks. Manager gives me a filled-out paper stating I quit on the day for personal reasons. I ask, so you can't fire me because I'm on sick leave? I need to resign? Manager says yes, it's too much paperwork to fire me. She doesn't have the time. Okay, deal. I take out a blank piece of paper, write my quitting date as of 2 weeks from now to, be polite and give them the proper notice. Manager was fuming and argued I can't do that. I said that's the time frame I need to give according to my contract. She was too lazy to argue more. I signed the sheet and walked out. Called my doctor the next morning and talked about my sick leave. Few days later, the manager calls me. Tomorrow is the big town fair. I'm definitely not sick anymore and can come in tomorrow. They are super short-staffed. I said that I'm on sick leave. She said I can't still be feeling crappy and I have to go into work right now. I told them no. My sick leave ends on day after my resignation date. She got super upset and said that if I didn't come to work, she'd have to be up on the register the whole day. To that, I just coughed fakely and said, well, have fun, and hung up. Spent the 2 weeks on the beach on paid sick leave, and also my probation lapsed, so they had to pay me the bonus. Edit. I did get my unemployment benefits with no problem, and a well-paying job not soon after that. Never going back to that place. Thank you for all the support. Am I the jerk for bringing my own dinner to a wedding? Okay, I know how it sounds. Please let me explain. I, 26 female, have a ton of medical issues, including some that create major dietary restrictions. Real dietary restrictions, not some random fad diet that has false positive benefits. My cousin, Kay, had her wedding a couple weeks ago, and they did not have any menu items that I would be able to eat except a couple of the appetizers. Even then, I'm a little uncomfortable because they chose buffet style for the side dishes, and catering creates a lot of opportunity for cross-contamination. I would never expect someone to change or add to their wedding menu on my behalf, so I messaged her as soon as we received the menu and just let her know that I would be unable to dine with them at the reception because of the dietary stuff, and let her know that I would come back after I was able to eat. I understand what it was like leading up to a wedding, and I received no response to my message, though it was on Facebook and I knew she had opened it. I decided I would just put together a little lunchbox and leave it in the car, so when I started to get hungry, I could just go grab a snack and come back in. Well, the reception came and all was well. Then dinner came, and Kay came up to me and asked why I was leaving the venue. I told her that I just had to get some food in my belly and that I would be right back to finish celebrating. She got an appalled look on her face and asked why I would bring food to a wedding I knew would have some of the best. I let her know about the restrictions and reminded her about the message. She said, I just figured you were being dramatic and someone in the family would get you under control. Guess nobody could. My jaw hit the floor. I wish that my restrictions could be casually broken, but unfortunately, I get quite ill if I break the food boundary. It is well known within my family that this is true. I've ruined a holiday or two by accidentally eating contaminated food. Anyway, I really didn't know how to respond, so I just walked out to the car and had my food with the company of the car radio. I am the queen of being hangry, so I hoped that getting fed would help me to get a better grip on the situation, but I was still shaky mad. I came back in prepared to sit quietly and get through the rest of the night without too much more to say, but my aunt and uncle came to the table and told me how much I had hurt Kay's feelings by bringing my own food. I explained, although I still feel a certain sort of way about having to explain, the restrictions again, and told them I tried to be as polite as humanly possible by reaching out beforehand and leaving my snacks out of sight of the reception guests. They told me it gave the whole wedding a bad look, and if it was really that big of a deal, then I needed to eat beforehand. Nobody else has really weighed in, and at this point, I don't really know if I was in the wrong. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. If it were my wedding and a cousin sent me that message, I'd have told you to go ahead and bring in your food so you don't even have to leave. But cousin and her family believe OP's medical issues are fake and that she uses them to be dramatic. Dramatic people don't quietly handle a need in a way that causes no disruption. Dramatic people make everything about them, blow things out of proportion, and involve others in their crusade. Cousin and her family are the ones who are dramatic. Not the jerk. It's actually hugely considerate of you to bring your own food and not bug the bride with having to create a dish just for you. I had to work around a few minor food restrictions, and it was a nightmare to deal with the venue. I have no idea why the bride is angry. You affected no one with your decision. Take solace in the fact that you were considerate and kind. Not the jerk. You were discreet about it by sitting in your car to eat, unlike one I read on here once, where a guest got fast food delivered to a wedding and ate it in front of the other guests. Alternatively, if you are invited to another event, feel free to eat contaminated food and leave Kay with the lovely memories of the after effects as a result, possibly by throwing up on the dance floor, or perhaps being carted off in an ambulance. Your aunt and uncle needed to wind their necks in too and stop indulging your cousin being a bridezilla. Am I the jerk for no longer bringing dinner for my wife after she claimed I never cook? I work at a nice restaurant as a cook, and every day when I get off from work, I always cook dinner for my wife and our 2 kids, who are 8 and 6, at the restaurant before coming home. The only time I don't cook for them are on weekends when I'm off, and that's when my wife does the cooking. We usually trade off who makes breakfast and lunch for the kids every other day, but for the week, I'm always the one bringing home dinner. Weekends, we sometimes get together with friends, and they come over to our house. My wife usually cooks, and I help set the table and clean afterwards. One of her friends, Stacy, asked how come I never do any of the cooking, and it's always on my wife all the time taking meals for the kids, especially when I'm a cook myself. Instead of correcting her, she sort of laughed and went along with it, making jokes about, "You know how it is." And Stacy laughed because her ex-husband was the same way, and then sort of ripped on me in a joking way about how I better get myself sorted out before I become an ex too. My wife just said, "Well, let's see if he actually listens and starts cooking for once," joking about all the time I spend in the kitchen at work, but won't do the same at home. It really upset me. I'm not the husband that just doesn't do anything after I'm home from work. I cook food for her and the kids at work, and on top of that, I make separate dishes for each of them, what she wants and what the kids want. All that after standing on my feet all day. We talked about it once they left because I don't appreciate being told I'm not doing something she knows for a fact I do. She didn't want to apologize for it because it was all just meant to be a funny joke. Even after telling her about how it hurt my feelings being put down like that, my wife said she felt like she has to go along with the joke so there wouldn't be any awkward vibes, whatever that means. But I said, fine. If she can't apologize for something that was mean just so she could laugh along with her friends, then I won't keep doing something she already claims I won't do. For the past week, I've only brought home dinner for our kids, and she's had to make her own food. She's mad that I'm refusing to feed her over what happened instead of letting it go, but I can't help but feel mad about being made fun of like that when I'm busting my tail to provide for my family and still making sure they have enough food on the table every evening. She just thinks I'm the jerk for how I'm reacting when she's already tired at the end of the day, but still having to make food for herself. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. Your wife missed a great opportunity to boast on you, all for acceptance by others who have nothing invested in your relationship. OP. Not even to boast. It would have felt nice though, but at least say, "Hey, you're wrong," not just go along with it. As a stay-at-home mom who has a significant other who actually does things for himself and around the house, I've basically had this conversation before. All she had to say is, "Actually, I don't have that problem. He's a responsible adult and pulls his share." I don't get why she had to lie to keep it from being awkward. I'm sure it was awkward already. Not the jerk. Your spouse is supposed to be your partner in everything in life. The person who always has your back, like you always have theirs. She threw you directly under the bus for the sake of not creating waves with her friend. Then, when you told her you didn't find her comments at all funny and quite hurtful that she let someone else believe you're a deadbeat, she blew you off. So, she can make her own dinner until she sincerely apologizes and acknowledges that your contribution to the family of cooking dinner during the week is important. Am I the jerk for causing my sister to no longer have college paid for? I'm 16, female. My sister is 18. Her name is May, and she's going to college next year. She applied early, decision to a prestigious school she's always wanted to go to, and she got in. When she applied and when she got in, our mother had said that she would be paying for my sister's college expenses. She can afford to completely pay for what May's college fund doesn't cover. Our father cannot, and May would have to take out student loans. Our parents are split. May chose to live solely with our father. I split time between their houses. May heavily dislikes our mother, but she is polite to her because she wants her college paid for. She's very rude about our mother behind her back. A few days ago, May had gotten off the phone with our mother and was ranting to our father about how insufferable she is and how she hates her and she wishes she didn't have to talk to her because she's an awful person and that she only tolerates her so she'll pay for her college. I was in the next room and took a video of this and sent it to our mother. She must have said something to May because May was very upset with me. She said I had no right to record her without her consent and that I was invading her privacy and she should be able to rant in her own home without worrying about being recorded. She said that our mother had said she no longer would be paying for her college and I was ruining her life and that I was making it so much harder for her when she had worked so hard to get accepted. My father is also mad at me, but my mother is glad I told her so she can know. I didn't think I was in the wrong at the moment because I thought it was the right thing to do, but now I'm thinking I should have just minded my own business. Am I the jerk? Everyone sucks here. Your sister is a jerk for exploiting someone that they cannot stand. You're the jerk for recording a private conversation and sharing it with others. I think you wanted this to happen and that you really do not like your sister. So I see many posters focusing on the non-consent of the recording. Well, that's a legal question in my opinion, not a jerk one. Some places permit one-party consent for recording. Other person doesn't need to be informed. Others don't, and it's illegal. But in any place on earth, for the most part, you are allowed to see and hear your environment and those around you. And it is your freedom to take notes, recount the events to others, etc. OP didn't lie, and her sister is awful. I would want to know if I were expressing generosity to someone if they actually thought I was less than dirt and cared only about appearing to placate me while later badmouthing. I don't want to support leeches like that. OP did the right thing here in every moral sense, and I have zero sympathy for the thankless, entitled jerk of a sister. Too bad. No, she did not. It was an absolutely sleazy and mean move, and her sister vented after an argument phone call out of emotion. She should have spoken to her first and asked her about the reasons for the negative feelings towards their mother. Everyone sucks here. You acted like a snitch, and your sister is a dishonest, opportunistic brat. Not the jerk. She was using your mother for her money. You didn't ruin her life, she did. Your mother deserved to know, rather than be shocked and hurt when your sister cut off all contact once she was finished with school. ETA, because I see this brought up a lot. We don't know what was on that tape. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes, as people keep pointing out. You know who does? Mom, and she made a decision based on those facts. 1. This sub is about voting on the information we have, not speculating on what might have happened. 2. Mom has a right to make her own decisions. 3. If OP was truly the golden child and horrible to her sister and Mom's favorite, like a lot of people think, would Mom be paying for non-golden child, the sister's, college fund in the first place? Probably not. 4. Paying for her own college isn't ruining her life. Plenty of people take out loans and manage to pay them off. 5. Being a parent doesn't stop when they rebel, turn 18. No, it doesn't. But unfortunately, college is not considered a necessity, but a choice. So as a legal adult, sister is responsible for it. 6. College is too expensive for the kid to pay. See number 4. Do I think college should be free? Yes, but it isn't, and wishing won't change it. Am I the jerk for interrupting my ex-husband's birthday and taking my daughter home because she was there without permission? Me, female 35, and my ex-husband, male 37, got separated 1 year ago. We share custody of our 15-year-old daughter. My ex-husband has her for certain days, and his birthday didn't fall on one of these days. In fact, it fell on one of the days where my daughter is supposed to be with me. He called me so we could discuss letting him have my daughter on the day of his birthday, but I told him no, because it's not his day to have her. He got my daughter involved, and she said she really wants to go, but I said no, because I have my reasons. My ex-husband dropped it, but on the day of his birthday, I went to pick my daughter up from school, but I discovered that he came and took her straight to the restaurant where his birthday party was taking place. I was fuming. I called him, but he didn't pick up. I then called my daughter, and she said yes, she was with him. I used location feature to track her phone and got the address. I showed up and interrupted the party. My ex-husband started arguing with me, but I told him he had no permission to have my daughter with him that day, but he said my daughter wanted to be there for his birthday. My former mother-in-law tried to speak to me, and I told her to stay out of it, then told my daughter to grab her stuff because we're going home. My ex-husband and family unloaded on me, and I tried to ignore them and just leave, but my daughter made it hard for me. I took her home eventually and grounded her for agreeing to leave school with her dad when it wasn't his day. Her dad called me yelling about how bitter and spiteful I was to deprive my daughter from attending his birthday. I told him it's basic respect and boundaries, but he claimed it was just me being spiteful and deliberately hurtful towards him that I didn't even care how it affected my daughter. I hung up, but more of his family members are starting to blast me on social media, saying I showed up and made a scene at the restaurant. Went as far as calling me unstable. You're the jerk. You should have let him have her on the birthday. Why make such a big deal? Yes, your ex shouldn't have picked her up after you said no to the switch, but once he did, you should have left her and dealt with it afterwards. All you're accomplishing now is alienating your daughter. She's 15 and enjoying her time with her dad. Let her. Also, no one seems to care that she used apps to track her daughter. Massive invasion of privacy? She's 15. When I was 15, I had to be home by 10 and let my mom know where I was. But beyond that, I was pretty free. Like, would you stop her from going to a friend's house because it's your night? A lot of parents don't believe in a kid's right to privacy. It's sickening. Edit for clarity. I'm referring to parents who believe a kid has no right to privacy to fulfill a power fantasy. I disagree. She's 15 and legally still the parent's responsibility. There's nothing wrong with using location tracking to figure out where your minor kid is if you need to. Of course it's wrong to tag your kid like a migrating antelope. If you have no idea where your kid is, you're a bad parent. And if you solve that problem with a tracking device, you're a lazy parent who's going to raise sneaky kids. Try talking to your kids and teaching them how to be safe when they aren't in your eye line like every other generation of parent has done. Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video. Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.